It is my pleasure to welcome you to the presentation of the Distinguished Service Award to the cause of Unitarian Universalism. This award is the highest honor the association bestows and is given annually to the person who is determined to have provided well-distinguished service as designated by the Board of Trustees. I was the chair of the committee who made the recommendation this year, and also serving on the committee were John Blevins and Peter Morales. It is my honor, my real honor, to introduce you to this year's recipient, the Reverend Jane Rzepka. Reading the award citation is the Reverend Mark Bellatini, minister in Columbus, Ohio, who is Jane's and her family's long-standing close friend. Reverend Bellatini.
This is going to be very moving to me. Jane Rani Rzepka exemplifies the best of Unitarian Universalism. Raised in a Unitarian Universalist family in Mentor, Ohio, she is the oldest of 5 in a theologically diverse family. Jane thrived in our religious education programs, taking to heart the excellent wisdom offered there. Deep respect for different choices and ways of seeing things, gratefulness for her religious identity, and a patient, reasoned approach. A graduate of the University of Michigan, Jane earned her Master of Divinity from the Starr King School for the Ministry and was admitted to fellowship in the UUA in 1976. She was ordained the following year, and in 1983 she received her PhD in religion and psychology from the Graduate Theological Union. Jane has served 3 of our congregations. She served as an associate minister in Winchester, Massachusetts for 5 years. She served as the senior minister in Reading, Massachusetts for 15 years. And for the last 10 years, she's been senior minister at the Church of the Larger Fellowship, our association's largest congregation. CLF added more than 1,000 members during Jane's ministry, and CLF's outreach through the Church of the Younger Fellowship, its prison ministry, and its military ministry has made Unitarian Universalism available to thousands outside of our congregational walls. In addition to these ministries, Jane really is a minister's minister. She has served twice on the executive committee of the UU Ministers Association, twice on the board of Starr King School for the Ministry, and a full term on our ministerial fellowship committee, credentialing new ministers. At the 1990 General Assembly in Milwaukee, she preached the Sermon of the Living Tradition to universal acclaim, and she delivered one of the principal sermons for her colleagues on the 25th anniversary of her ministry in the year 2002. She is a minister's minister and a preacher's preacher. For 13 years, Jane co-taught a class on preaching with the Reverend Ken Sawyer at the Harvard Divinity School. In 2002, she and Ken co-authored Thematic Preaching, which is essential reading for ministers new and experienced. And her Skinner House meditation manual, A Small Heaven, remains a classic expression of Jane's capacity to use wry observation and everyday experience to reveal the depths of life. Indeed, it is impossible for Jane to preach or write without, at the very least, a twinkle in her eye, although outright laughter is far more common. Richly humanist in her theology, Jane is broad in her welcome, inclusive in spirit and substance, and always quotable. Jane's ministry is informed and nurtured by her loving family. In 1970, she married Charles Rzepka, and together Jane and Chuck have raised two extraordinary sons, Adam and Toby. With her family, you have to see her camping under the stars in the Sahara Desert, traversing the Tibetan Plateau, boating down the Amazon, walking the streets and alleys of Prague. These are Jane's unalloyed joys. Throwing her head back in laughter with her friends, eating a slice of chocolate cake with notable pleasure, refusing to complain about ailments, a consistently non-anxious presence in all situations. These dimensions of Jane's heart are perhaps less known to those who only know her from her books, pulpit, or emails. Jane is one of the clearest articulators alive today of what it means to be a Unitarian Universalist in word, in life, in loyalty, in identity, and in honesty. It is therefore with deep gratitude, admiration, and pride that we now confer on you, Jane Randy Rzepka, the highest honor our association can bestow, the annual award for distinguished service to the cause of Unitarian Universalism.